History's most famous seductress was likely the ancient world's most ruthless political strategist. For 2 millennia, the popular narrative has reduced Cleopatra's life to a brief, passionate fling involving carpets and snake bites, a myth that erases the reality of her actual career. This timeline tracks her 21-year reign as a sole monarch. To put that in perspective, Cleopatra held absolute power for the equivalent of 5 full U.S. presidential terms, outlasting dozens of her Roman contemporaries, whose political appointments rarely lasted more than a few years. The tragic lover narrative is a 2,000-year-old smear campaign designed to mask a sovereign who was highly effective and, to her enemies, deeply dangerous. In 51 BC, an 18-year-old girl inherited a fractured kingdom locked in civil war and buried under debt to an aggressive Roman republic. Look at the scripts on the Rosetta Stone. For 3 centuries, the Greek-descended Ptolemaic dynasty refused to speak the native language of the people they ruled. Cleopatra broke that tradition, learning Egyptian to communicate with her subjects and issue decrees directly. Cleopatra's first meeting with Julius Caesar functioned as a calculated military transaction. Caesar controlled the veteran Roman legions needed to secure her throne and eliminate her rivals. By utilizing Caesar's military strength, she removed her siblings from power and ended the civil war. This alliance successfully secured her throne, giving her a first taste of absolute authority on the world stage. While Rome suffered chaotic internal politics, Cleopatra maintained stability in Alexandria. Under her rule, the city became the Mediterranean's primary center of wealth. She managed trade and implemented proactive economic policies that generated vast wealth for the state. This gold Ptolemaic coin verifies the strength of the economic engine backing her political power. Cleopatra also mastered the psychological management of her people, formally presenting herself as the living reincarnation of the goddess Isis. This allowed her to manage a Greek administration while simultaneously projecting traditional pharaonic imagery to maintain absolute control over her subjects. She then formed a powerful political and military bloc with Mark Antony, aiming to expand her territories and push back against Roman borders. By this point, she had successfully expanded her influence to become the primary obstacle to Roman global expansion. However, intertwining Egypt's sovereign fate with Mark Antony's specific Roman faction created a critical vulnerability. This opening allowed her rival, Octavian, to launch a strategy based on the weaponization of information. Octavian's propaganda campaign painted Cleopatra as a foreign sorceress who had bewitched a noble Roman general, successfully shifting public opinion in Rome. This psychological warfare provided Octavian with the public mandate to launch a full-scale military assault on the Egyptian and Antony naval blockade at Actium. Her diplomatic alliances, once her greatest strength, were completely inverted by Octavian into the very narrative that ultimately doomed her empire. In 31 BC, the naval battle of Actium ended in a catastrophic defeat for Cleopatra. The Roman fleet, represented by heavy warships like the one in this relief, achieved complete dominance. By 30 BC, Octavian was closing in on Alexandria, and Mark Antony had taken his own life. Octavian intended to capture Cleopatra alive and parade her through the streets of Rome in chains as a trophy. To deny Rome this victory, she made her final strategic move, taking her own life with a fast-acting poison, not the dramatic snakebite of popular legend. Her death at age 39 instantly extinguished 3,000 continuous years of pharaonic rule in Egypt. Rome won the physical war, but Octavian's relentless smear campaign created a strange historical irony. It guaranteed she would never be forgotten. When we look at this realistic marble bust, we see the true legacy of a sovereign who managed a sophisticated economy and outmaneuvered Rome's sharpest minds for decades. She held off the greatest military machine in history with her intellect, her sharp strategy, and sheer force of will. History is written by the victors, but looking back 2,000 years later, whose name truly endures? If you want to witness more stories of the rise and fall of power, subscribe to Empire Snapshots.